Everybody's beautiful in their own way. Hello, my gardening friends. Welcome to your favorite garden show, brought to you each week for your enjoyment. I'm Dr. John, your host, and today I have a gentleman coming on who's going to talk about our forests and our trees and replacing the trees from in the forest. Oh, in fact, I'm not even going to steal his thunder. He represents the Forestry Fund of America, Matt Windt, and when he comes on, he's going to tell us all about what he's doing with reforesting the land in the good old USA. But before we do that, let's do this. Let's talk about the plant of the week. The first plant of the week happens to be a hardy hibiscus. Stand right up here, hardy hibiscus. This hardy hibiscus is called Midnight Marvel. It is a perennial, and it really needs lots of good sun. Notice the foliage on that, how pretty it is. It's different. And it attracts butterflies. It will reach a spread of about 4 or 5 feet wide and definitely 8 to 10 feet high. It's absolutely beautiful, burgundy foliage. So if you want something different in your yard, get a hardy hibiscus. This is not a tropical. It can stay outside all winter long. And the second one, let's set the second one up here, and it's on the floor over here. Kind of heavy, I gotta be careful picking it up. There we go. The hardy gardenia. You thought gardenias all were tropicals? No, not this one. This is a hardy one. And the fragrance, oh, it's so beautiful. And the hardy gardenia is also a perennial, just like the hibiscus over here is a perennial. And it is an evergreen, and it has the white flowers, of course. And this needs lots of full sunlight. Grows about 3 feet tall and about 2 feet wide. Put this in your yard, someplace near your patio, so you can enjoy the fragrance while you're sitting on your patio in the summertime. And give it a drink in some fertilizer, acid fertilizer. So now you've learned 2 new plants, a hardy hibiscus and a hardy gardenia. Let's take 30 seconds out for a thank you message, and when we come back, we're going to talk about reforesting. Stay tuned. The funding for this program was made possible by a grant from the Hardwood Forestry Fund. The Hardwood Forestry Fund, located in Reston, Virginia, was chartered in 1990, and they have planted well over 4 million trees, and they welcome your support to help replant and regenerate our treasured hardwood forests of America. For more information, the number to call is 877-433-8733. Hi, folks. If you just tuned in, you're watching Gardening News and Views with Dr. John. I'm your host, and today I have Matt Windt, the administrator for the Hardwood Forestry Fund, and he should be here right about now. Oh, come right in, Matthew. Come on right in, Matt.
Oh, well, hi, John.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, nice to see you.
Glad you made it.
Well,
All
thanks
right.
for having me
Pull
on.
up a stool
Sure,
here and
I'd love
let's talk. All right. You know, I met you at Merrifield Garden Center quite some time ago, and I thought, when you were talking to me and what you did involved the forest and so forth, I thought, you've got to be on my show. And that's why I've invited you on. But before you talk about your main topic, which is forestry, tell our viewing audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure, John. Well, thanks for having me. I work for the Hardwood Forestry Fund in Reston, Virginia. I am an avid gardener and horticulturist. I'm a master gardener near the Shenandoah Valley, and I'm a registered seedsman in several states. And I've always been involved in things outdoors, particularly the forest and the animals and recreation.
Well, now, when you were over to Merrifield, you had some seeds that you had there too and so forth, but your primary thing, your real love is the forestry, right?
That's right.
Well, let's talk about that then.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I represent the Hardwood Forestry Fund, and they are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Essentially, the Hardwood Forestry Fund replants hardwood trees for future generations. It was started in 1990 by the industry known as the engineered hardwood industry. The folks that make hardwood plywood, veneer in this country, the engineered flooring, and so on. All the products you see on the interior of the house made of hardwood. And they set out to replant more hardwood trees than they were using in their industry.
Well, now, when you're talking about replanting them there, what you're doing is the lumber people will come in and cut down these trees by the thousands, right?
No, just the opposite. It's selective timbering. They will go in, a professional or a team of professionals, state foresters and so on, will go in and mark the trees very selectively for the benefit of the forest and its future.
Now that's good to know, because there's a lot of people have the wrong attitude about the foresters, the lumber people. They figure they're going to go out there and swipe everything bare naked, and then this erosion and everything goes to hell. But it's not that way.
No, not at all. Actually, a managed forest by a professional does better than an unmanaged forest. And many in the profession know this to be true. And what I mean by saying that, as the big trees are growing and we're taking out some very choice hardwood trees like the maple, the ash, the oaks, and so on, there are also small trees, medium-sized trees, and once that canopy is gone and opens up the sunlight, you have a whole nother generation of trees coming.
Well, now, when you're talking about those trees, how do they know, where do they get the new trees from? I mean, how does that work out? Tell our viewing audience how that works.
Well, we deal mostly with state forests and state foresters, and every state is a little bit different. In some states, like Pennsylvania, which is close to Virginia, of course, they have their own nursery. The state foresters will collect acorns and other nuts, send them to their own nursery to propagate the trees that way. The stock, the rootstock, then would be sent back to the forest and replanted in areas that may have had a little bit of difficulty reforesting itself.
Mm-hmm. When they reforest it like that, we were talking about before the show started that there's some regulations and rules that they have to follow. In other words, they've got to be so far apart, and then they have to water them, and somebody has to come in and check on that. Tell us about that.
That's right. When we provide grants to any state forest to replant hardwood trees, we require that they report back to us every so often, every 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years, on the health of the forest, its rate of survival. Do we have any issues with insects, weeds, deer browsing, which means the deer eat the tops of the trees and stunt their growth. Mm-hmm. So the Hardwood Forestry Fund, in a way, employs these state foresters to manage the forest under very regulated conditions.
Well, now, when you brought that up about managing them and so forth and the right trees, there is a problem with the ash trees now, isn't there?
Yes.
And I'm sure that they're not planting much ash, or not.
That's right, and we certainly are, and that brings up a good point. There is a difference between reforestation and what's called afforestation. Many of our listeners know that a forest will propagate itself. If there's trees along a grass line, right, give it time, trees will start popping up with the help of nature and animals like squirrels and blue jays, the forgetful squirrel, for instance, who forgets where his nuts are planted. And reforestation will occur on itself. Where the Hardwood Forestry Fund often steps in, not always, but often, is when we need to conduct afforestation. And actually, I have a good clip of a forester at Raystown Lake, Pennsylvania, where we planted some 36,000 hardwood trees, talking about the differences between reforestation and afforestation.
Well, let's take a look at that clip.
Great.
All right, let's sit back and watch that.
So Glenn, maybe you can tell me a little bit about how we use the term reforestation.
Yeah, reforestation is when a stand regenerates itself. It's basically the process of it growing and getting the next stand ready so that after we harvest, there's trees there to take over, become mature in that forest. The opposite of that is afforestation, which is a lot of times needed in areas that have been strip mined or impacted during construction projects, things like that, or if you have really high deer pressure, which was a problem here at Raystown, and the forest could not regenerate itself quick enough because of the amount of browse. So afforestation is needed to help these stands along. So you kind of join afforestation and reforestation together to get these stands to go to where you want them. And you can also choose, if an area is predominantly oak and you want to get another species to help increase diversity, that's where the human interaction can come in and play a role to get that species in that area where the forest would be regenerating primarily oak because that's what's in the canopy. So human interaction, we can kind of change things and direct them to how we want them to play out.
Well, you certainly have some beautiful hardwood trees. We can see that the trees come right up to the coastline here at Raystown Lake, and it's just a beautiful setting.
That was a very good video there. Now, that was up in Pennsylvania. What town was that near?
It's near Harrisburg, but it's called Raystown Lake. It's under the Army Corps of Engineer, and we've been working with them since 2008 to plant, like I said, about 36,000 hardwood trees.
36,000 hardwood trees cost a lot of money. Where do you get the money from? I mean,
Traditionally, we had been receiving donations and contributions from the Hardwood, Plywood, and Veneer Association and the manufacturers of hardwood flooring, but we think it's wise to reach out to the general public and show them the good work we're doing so close to home. We've had 250 hardwood projects since 1990. Over 6,000 acres have been planted, and we're over 4 million hardwood trees. The ash, the maple, the oaks, all
the hardwood.
all
We're not
hardwood.
talking the white pine stuff.
We're not talking about any type of pine. We're talking strictly about hardwoods, the woods that we see on our kitchen cabinets, the veneers we see on our table, all the skateboards, snowboards,
Really?
everything having to do with recreation. Sure, it's an integral part of the American and the world's lifestyle, and a lot of that veneer is made, and hardwood plywood is made right here in the United States, and we do it the best. It's really great.
Well, I understand you're the integral part of this whole operation, because you said to me earlier that there's one side is the foresters, right, and the other side is
The contributions.
contributions.
That's right.
And anyone watching this show right now, if they wanted to contribute towards this, where would they send their check or their money?
Sure. We would certainly take charitable contributions. They are tax deductible, 501c3 nonprofit. Talk with your tax
Right.
advisor, of course. The website address, www.hardwoodforestryfund.org. On that website, you could have a secure donation. You could also call our toll-free number, which is 877-433-TREE, which stands 8733.
Oh, you put the word tree in there.
That's
All
the
right,
last
yeah.
four. I'll say it again. It's 877-433-8733. And both are easy ways to reach us should you want to make a contribution to the Hardwood Forestry Fund.
I think it would be nice. You know, there's a lot of people watch my shows, and this will be repeated, by the way. This show is going to be repeated in about 10 weeks. And so you'll get another viewing of new people watching the show, and then 10 weeks later it'll be shown again. So there's a great opportunity for you. But you really need the funds to make it all work.
That's right.
Because what does it cost, these little ceilings? I mean, you talked about exactly how was it done?
Well, that's a great question. The foresters will purchase the trees. They will choose the species specific to their area which do the best. And once they pay for the trees, we will reimburse them essentially. They handle the planting, the site selection, and actually draw up a comprehensive forest management plan in order to receive any funds from the Hardwood Forestry Fund. Once the project is signed off by our board of directors, they will go ahead and set a target date of when they'll plant these hardwood trees. They only have a short window in the Appalachia area, Wisconsin even down. They have a small window of the springtime to get these in. There's many problems in reality with planting anything in the forest. You have animals that want to eat the nice green leaves. The deer browsing. You have the insects. You have all sorts of problems in the forest. We've been pretty good at our survival rates simply because state foresters are the ones managing these lands. They're managed for almost 100 years after these are planted.
Well, now, I'm sure there's somebody watching this show right now, a young man or a young lady for that matter, would like to be involved in the forestry and want to be a forester and so forth. The Hardwood Forestry Fund, could they use more people or volunteers, either summertime or any time, or is it full time?
Sure, you could always contact the Hardwood Forestry Fund on our website, on our toll-free number. Anytime if this is something you'd like to be part of, planting trees or getting in the forest where these trees are planted. We have a good number of sites right here in Virginia. One property that I think is fantastic is Raystown Lake, Pennsylvania, due to the sheer amount of outdoor recreation that takes place in an active working forest. They have mountain bike trails, camping, fishing, a marina, walking a new rubberized trail that goes all around the marina. But again, don't take my word for it. We've got some great footage of that right here.
So Glenn, we're here at the marina, which is one of the largest, you said, in the Army Corps of Engineers holdings. And we know Raystown Lake as being a fantastic place for outdoor recreation. What are some of the things that an outdoor recreationalist could do here at Raystown Lake?
Raystown has over 30 miles of water, so water sports, jet skiing, water skiing, scuba diving, boating, fishing, it's all right here. And once you get off the water, we have campground facilities, we have RV hookup sites, we have tent sites for more primitive campers.
I see.
We have walking trails, 3 walking trails, and we just put in last year a 32-mile bike trail system known as the Allegrippus.
So the Allegrippus would be for mountain bikers then?
Yeah, primarily.
And is that a popular attraction here at Raystown Lake?
Yeah, since we put it in, it's just been growing and growing and growing, and it's actually recognized in the top 10 in the nation for mountain bike trail systems.
Well, that's great. Now, what is it that we're standing on right here? This is the newest addition. This is a recycled rubber walkway that you have. About how long does this go for?
It goes around the whole 7 Points area. It's a couple miles long. Like you said, it's made out of recycled rubber material that's held together by adhesive, so it's very green. And as you can see, it's still under construction. It's just going in right now. But I expect that it'll be a big attraction.
About how many recreation visits do you get every year here at Raystown Lake?
I believe it's around 500,000.
500,000. Now, Raystown Lake is centrally located between Pittsburgh, the Washington, D.C. metro area, and some other large cities. So it doesn't take a long time for people to get here, just a couple hours, and they could partake in all the activities you just mentioned here at Raystown.
Yeah, correct. It's a central location. We get people from just down the road, people from out of state, all over the state. It's been considered the crown jewel of Pennsylvania is kind of the nickname that it's got.
Wow, that was a great video. That's up near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, right?
Close by, and what's great about Raystown Lake, Pennsylvania, from a recreation standpoint, is it's central to cities like Washington, D.C., Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg. You know, the number of things to do there are very numerous and heavily in outdoor recreation.
Well, that's why I like to do these shows, because I always try and gauge my shows for the young people out there that want to pick a career. And this is a great career to go into. And let's go back to afforestation and reforestation for a minute.
You were asking me earlier about the differences between afforestation and what we commonly know as reforestation. Well, again, reforestation is when the forest is able to replant itself using just the powers of nature. There are many situations where afforestation is needed. That means we would need to step in and help nature out by planting these hardwood trees. These type of environments are often seen due to forest fires, reclamation land, diseased land, land that's been hurt by tornadoes or hurricanes. These are all
flooding, yeah,
flooding. It's all very prevalent where the hardwoods naturally grow in Appalachia and the east coast of America. And we get in there, provide funding to the state forest to get those hardwood trees replanted.
Now, this the Hardwood Forestry Funding Organization, how far across the country does it go? You were talking about Pennsylvania pretty strong. What about VA and Ohio and other, where else is it?
All those states, we are concentrated a lot where the hardwoods, like I said, naturally grow, and those would be the states of Michigan and Wisconsin, Ohio.
Country, yes.
Sure, Pennsylvania, a stronghold, into Virginia and other Appalachia states. We also, we mainly stick to North America, but we recently worked with the Jane Goodall Foundation to replant some mahoganies in Tunisia.
Really?
Yeah, and we've got some good data back from that, survival rates as well. Again, these are the hardwoods that America is using in all the things on the interior of our homes that we love so much.
In fact, they're the hardwoods that are used to build my set that I have here.
There you go.
This counter, yes.
And also some other things.
Well, I understand you've got some things you want to show us.
Can I get them?
Yes, let's do
Okay.
that.
So what I did was I brought in just a few examples of things. Right here we've got what's called veneer. And that is a thin strip of a hardwood tree that you would see glued onto another medium.
Bring it all over if you want to. All
Set
right.
that there.
This is the veneer?
Right, so you have machinery that takes the log with a knife and slices it ever so slowly and thinly, and this can get very thin, and then this would be glued on a substrate like a plywood or other, and used in the interior
A
of your home.
tabletop or whatever, yeah.
Sure, it would. And then below this is a walnut slice from a tree, and you can
Let
see
me
how
tape
old
this
it
up
is
before I get in trouble here. There we go.
before it bounces on you.
Yeah.
But something like this just looks like a piece you'd find in Grandpa's wood pile there. But in reality, walnut is used to make something as nice as this nice gun stock or rifle stock. And that, again, something that we do well here in America, very well. I have just a couple other things here. When we think of wood, I mentioned recreation and skateboards and other things, but how often do we talk about instruments? This would be a cello. Sure. And when you think about the drum sets, the shells, the maple and the ash drum sets, we do that all real good here in America, and the Hardwood Forestry Fund is replanting the hardwood trees so that this tradition continues for future generations.
So what they're really doing is producing, other companies will make bottles of insecticides or chemicals of sort. Your company is making wood to make violins and tabletops and all that goes with it.
That's right.
Constantly replacing.
That's right. And what's really great, even with this, we talk about the word sequestration all the time, but what we don't always talk about is the amount of carbon that trees sequester. That tree for 80 to 100 years is sucking the carbon out of the air, and permanently locking that carbon into the wood, and we will be using that for generations. We don't have to put it anywhere.
What is this? What's this here? It looks like that's something.
Oh, just all the different types of hardwoods that are found here in America, from the
and you're planting all these trees, folks.
That's right.
You realize how important? I don't mean to interrupt you, but I get excited about this.
It is exciting,
folks,
isn't it?
Open your pocketbooks and open your checkbooks. This is important. Replace our forest. Replace our forest with wood.
That's right.
You're not making insecticides. You're making something positive like this to, oh, this is great.
Right, and all the while we're replanting, we're benefiting the wildlife. We're keeping the moist soil down on the forest floor so that it'll continue to compost naturally. The trees do a lot of good, even more so than its final use, which is our home products and so on.
Now, I want you to show me that thing over there. What is that you got?
Well, sure. We didn't necessarily talk about the decorative aspects of it. But this is some very nice inlay.
Let's do it this way.
Veneer.
So we don't hide ourselves.
It's the finer products that
How
you
about
find
that,
in the
Joe?
world. The finer products. These types of things are made right here in America with hardwood trees, and it's important that we keep the stock going.
Oh, I see. It should be up like this, right? Is that better?
There you go.
Look at that. Oh, yes. There she is. She's on water skiing. Or no, she's skiing there.
There are some very decorative things that you can do with fine veneers. And we've got a lot of those manufacturers right here in the United States, and they believe in a sustainable business practice.
I'm excited about this. I'm so glad
it's really neat stuff. I agree with you.
This is really good. You want to put that down? I don't want to drop it.
Sure.
There we go. But, yes, you know, I have a program that I have. I got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to pass on that. I was going to say I have a program that I have that I take to first graders in the schools where we talk about what wood does for you.
Yeah.
We talk about violins and telegraph poles and rail and train, all that. We need wood. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm going to turn the show over to you for the next 45 seconds and then we're done.
Okay, sounds good.
Go for it.
Well, John, I want to, again, thank you for having me here today. We're looking to Fairfax and Arlington Counties to get involved with the hardwood plantings that we're doing. And we are asking for contributions to the Hardwood Forestry Fund. And essentially, that money will be used dollar for dollar to replant trees and be managed for 80 to 100 years in a very sustainable and business-minded practice. Mm-hmm. And so today on the show, if anyone wants to donate the amount of $250 or more, we'd be happy to, of course, plant the trees within about a year or two with the grants that we have coming in. But also, I wanted to show off a nice cap that I made. You can take one there.
Oh, all right.
And I'd be happy to send that to any contributor who likes to donate to the Hardwood Forestry Fund. It's a nice canvas coated hat made in Cleveland, Ohio. It's got a nice sweatband on the inside, an American flag, made in America with Hardwood Forestry Fund
Made
along
in
the
America,
tag.
I like that.
That's right.
Hardwood Forestry.
Yep, and the tag says so. And we'd be happy to send that to any contributor at the $250 level or more.
All right. I will put that right on just like this. Folks, get involved. Get involved, please. We need our forest, and somebody like this that I have on my set here is making it happen. Why don't you make it happen too? Tune in next week for more gardening news and views. Thank you very much
Well,
for
thanks,
coming
John.
on.
I appreciate it.